All right, part two now. We're going to do part two, the pulley. So we're starting with, once again, the metric millimeter part file, and going to do a new, going to do a new sketch on our front XY plane. And like before, let's do a center line because we are going to revolve this part, and I'm just going to anchor it on the axis just to give it an anchor point so that it'll be 0 degrees and horizontal. At this point, length is not that relevant. Okay, so turn that off and let's go back to our line command. And we're going to sketch the profile of this wheel. So there's a line across, a line up, a line back in, another line up. I'm trying to keep my vertical ones vertical. This one comes out further than the bottom. Come on, vertical. Horizontal. And I'm trying to match, roughly what I had on the other side. Doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to put constraints on them. All right, I'll extend that one. Okay, so now then let's do some constraints here. And I'm doing that in order to center everything up. Okay, and I'm going to do some equals because these are equal, going back and forth across. Okay, and I can do, probably should do some horizontals with those. May not need them with those. We'll see. Okay, now we can start. I'm just going to apply a bunch of dimensions and then we'll come back and dimension them later, okay? So I know, I've got a width on this one, a width on those, and a width on that. Now, because we use a center line down here, when we dimension everything, it's going to be in diameter. And when you go to put in your actual dimensions, where you start will depend on how big you drew your sketch. If you drew your sketch smaller than what the actual dimensions need to be, you need to start with the outside and work to the end. If you drew it bigger than what the actual dimensions are, start the inside and work your way out. Okay, now, so now we may still, yeah, we'll need a dimension here to my origin point. I need that one. That should be the dimensions that I need. So I will pause. You put in your dimensions, I'll put in my dimensions, and we'll be back in a moment. Okay, got the dimensions in. If you got them all in and it still said you need one dimension, that's because of the construction line. And so I just popped a dimension on it just so everything's fully constrained. And then we will finish our sketch. And we're going to do a revolve. Okay, there it is. And let's see, there's fillets on the outside and inside. And they are going to be an R3 fillet. And then around on the back side too. Easy peasy. Okay. There was one dimension in the textbook between the 63 and the 66 of the 1.5. That's because we constrained everything to the center. We didn't need the 1.5, but it does work out to be that. Okay, so now we'll apply the material types and the surface finishes and do the whole thing here, and eye properties with the name, and then that will be this part. Okay, and then we'll move on to the next one.